Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cyrus Webb Presents. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. So glad you guys could join us once again. For those tuning in on the simulcast on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and on X, we're glad you all can be with us. And go ahead and bring in our friends over on IG so they can be a part of our chat today as well. And last but certainly not least, going to connect with our friends over on Amazon. We have a great guest that's joining us today. Had a chance to have her on our show, The Author's Den, last year on Amazon Live, but now she's making her first appearance with us here at Cyrus Webb Presents. We're going to be talking with best-selling author Suzetta Perkins today about her amazing journey. And for those who are tuning in on the Amazon side, welcome. Make sure you guys do hit that follow button, either here in this corner or down below. Also, we'll see the newest book that I had a chance to read by Suzetta. It's called Loving Myself, Reese's Story. We're going to talk to her not only about this book, but also let you guys know about the series that it's a part of, how it all started, and also what she hopes you're able to take away from the book as well. Suzetta, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Cyrus.
Look, I'm excited about this, Suzetta. Our first time to be able to talk about loving myself. We're going to get into that and the character Reese. But I want to talk about this journey for you because you've been one of those authors that people now of all ages have heard your name or know your work. What has it been like for you, Suzetta, to be able to do what you love as a storyteller and to share it with such a wide audience?
This is my passion. Writing has always been my passion. I've been doing it for a long, long time. And I remember that years ago I said that I wanted to, actually publish, but I think the fear of putting it out there for the public was probably foremost in my mind at the time until 2000 when I actually wrote my first novel. But it has been a blessing. It has been a blessing to share my work with people, other people, with book clubs and just, folks in general. And to have them come back and tell me how it affected them, how it made them feel. I mean, that really is, for me, that's exciting, and um, like I said, it's been a blessing in that even in this last series that I've written, the people have just uh, poured out, have come out because I was kind of in a low during the pandemic and didn't do a whole lot. But I tell you, people have really embraced this particular series. And I said to myself, I don't know if I want to write another one in the series, but I know that I will have to kind of bring this story, Loving Myself, to a climax, But I do have a story that I'm going to publish in October. That's come out. I had actually written it before Loving Myself, but people were clamoring uh, for another story about Reese. Honestly, people were sending me emails. We want to hear her story, because you've left her in Black Diamond the way that you did. But anyway, it has been wonderful. It has been wonderful. I just, I'm just thank all my readers for, really supporting me in this effort.
Right. And we have a few of them here. ESP Presents is joining us over on YouTube. She said hello, and for other people to check
Hey,
out your
Ellen.
work. Wendy says we love us some Suzetta.
Yes,
Wendy
Wendy.
Ursad is joining us over there as well. And we appreciate you guys over there on Instagram as well. If you guys have any questions or comments for Suzetta, make sure you guys put those in the chat. So I want to go back because you mentioned something very interesting, Suzetta, and I hope our audience caught that. You said back in 2000, so we're now talking 25 years that
Yes.
you've been a published author. Could you have imagined when you started that not only would you have the reach that you have, Suzetta, but also, like you mentioned, fans that are there for you book after book?
No, I never did. I only wanted to leave something for posterity's sake,
Mhm.
but um, I just could not imagine this. Never could imagine it. I've followed a lot of authors myself. I, attended a lot of retreats and things, and then I began to see, what they did and kind of mimic, some of them. But when I say mimic, I mean, okay, well, they can do this. I can do this as well.
Mhm.
And so in 2000, I finally sat down and wrote my first full length story. But like I said, I just did not realize that people would really latch onto it, and latch on to me. And it's been a blessing, truly a blessing.
What's funny, you probably would not remember this. The first book that you and I interviewed for, Suzetta, was Exterminator.
Yeah,
That was our,
yeah.
that was that was
That
our
was a
first.
long time ago. Yeah.
Yes, it was. But I want to just talk about that in the 17 years since then. I mean, for one thing, you've been able to kind of have two tracks here, Suzetta. You have your readers, but you also have other authors you've been able to motivate and inspire. Talk to us about that and what that's been like for you to hear from your peers about how much you have motivated them.
Yes, in fact, I will say shout out Jacqueline Thomas, who is
Hmm.
really one of my dear, dear friends. She has probably about 100 books, but it was, attending a lot of these literary events, with my romance slam jam, which I'm not a romance writer, but she got me into going to that. And from that, I ended up being in, I think we coordinated together, some of us who were there, and started a writers group. And from there, I began to meet a lot of authors. Some of them I had already been following, and I was, meeting as I went to a lot of the events. So having some of those give me input, and just sharing, because some of them have read my work as well, and sharing how much they, enjoyed my work,
Right.
really meant a lot. I'll put it like that.
Yeah.
And, so forth and so on. And I do, because I think authors helping authors, that was one of the phrases that we coined at one time.
Mhm.
And so, I in turn do the same thing for others, up and coming authors.
Mhm. LM says, yes, she can't believe it's been that long. Yeah, it's been a long
Yeah.
time. And so I want to talk about, because I had a chance to read Loving Myself, Reese's story. But before we get into that and dive into that book, and of course, for our audience joining us on Amazon, let me say this, Suzetta. I don't know if you saw this, but we do have a lot of your other titles over here as well on the Amazon side. So if you
Uh,
guys are new to Suzetta, make sure you guys do check those out. Hey, Pinda, good to be able to see Pinda's joining us over there on LinkedIn.
yeah,
She
Wanda.
says networking is important for writers. So
Yes.
true, Penda. Glad to be able to have you with us too. Talk to us about the series, because I read this book, which you were telling me is the third book. But how did this series
Yes.
start, Suzetta?
Okay. This series started during the pandemic. My very first book, which is called Fallen Leaves,
Mhm.
um, I wrote it because I was feeling some kind of way. I didn't do a lot of writing initially during the pandemic. We lost so many people, friends, family members, and it affected me in some kind of way. And so at one point, I decided I wanted to write a story, but I wanted to write a story not about me personally, my journey, but a character. I, created this character who journeyed through the pandemic. And
Mhm.
then while, we were all sitting out for the pandemic, because I know our governor put us out from work at, I believe it was March 17th. I remember that. But while
Mhm.
we were out, another major event happened. And that was the death or the killing of George Floyd. And
Yeah.
so I bridged those two things together, and that's how this series started. So, with my character Reese, and in Loving Myself, you'll notice that that character's name is Reese. Well, Reese in Fallen Leaves is the aunt of this particular Reese,
Okay.
and yeah, she was yeah. So as we follow her journey, she was she didn't. How can I put this? So I put it gently. Anyway, she lived in a Section 8 home, didn't have a whole lot, but she had a sister who lived on the other side of town. And so she wasn't doing so well. But anyway, when she became ill, she got COVID, and she ended up having to stay at the sister's house. Um, she became the situation with George Floyd happened. And
Mhm.
what happened was that she became really convicted by it, and wanted to do something with her life. Maybe that's what I was feeling. I wanted to do something, and
Yeah.
so she became involved in the Black Lives Matter movement. And what I really wanted to show in that book, regardless of what had gone on, was that she found purpose in her life, and so
Yeah.
that's what happened. And she becomes elevated, and I just wanted to show her growth within that particular thing. And so Fallen leaves actually means the well it means that the well what well, I don't know why I always get tongue tied. But anyhow, fallen fallen leaf shows the people that we lost during the pandemic, as well as those who we lost during, well, it's not necessarily during the Black Lives Matter, but those Black folks and that we've lost, along the way due to police brutality and so forth, and so that's what it means. And so Gypsy's, she is fighting, this fierce fight. And so she gets these opportunities, and she ends up in LA. She starts off in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And since you've been to Fayetteville, North Carolina, you know what it's like. And she ends up in Los Angeles. And you have to read the book. I don't want to tell you everything. She ends
Right.
up in Los Angeles. She meets a person. She falls in love, and all of that kind of thing, But it's a whole lot. There's so much, and I know I don't have time to tell it all. But anyhow, so Reese is as we begin this story, just to give you the little backdrop of Reese, she has really endured a lot of trauma during these two books, Fallen Leaves and Black Diamond. Her mother was killed by law enforcement, and then her father remarried not too well, pretty soon after the mother's death. But that's another whole story. And so she was and I know I'm going too far because you didn't ask me about tell
No,
about
you're fine. You're fine.
okay. But so Reese was feeling some kind of way because even when she went out to LA, her and her brother went out to LA to be with their aunt Gypsy, which is Reese, Reese's nemesis. Anyway, she went out there and she wanted to stay out there because she felt abandoned at her home. But Aunt Gypsy sent her back to North Carolina. And so Reese felt some sense of abandonment. And so she runs away and she lives with the boy who went to a neighboring high school. And so this is how Loving Myself begins at that point. We see Reese, she does come back home, but she feels that she needs to tell the boy because he has not been told. She does not know that she's pregnant. And she feels that he has a responsibility, and with this pregnancy. So
Yeah.
that's how this story starts. And I can say more if you want me to go
Yeah.
on.
Well, let me say, yeah, Penda, I was just about to tell her that Penda says, don't tell everything.
Okay. Hey, Brenda.
But look, I know. Ellen says there are so many life issues, political, systematically, sibling issues, and quest for true love. So true. I want to talk about chapter 38 of Loving Myself, Reese's story,
Okay.
Suzette. And I want to reset real quick for those who are just tuning in. Welcome, you all are watching Cyrus Webb Presents here on Amazon Live, but we also are simulcast on social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, and on Instagram as well. We're excited to welcome best-selling author Suzetta Perkins to our broadcast today. She's written a lot of books, but this book that we're talking about now is Loving Myself, Reese's story. She was just telling us this is the third book in her series. And we're going to, of course, remind you guys you can stay connected with her. Nathan Angel, hello to you. I said authors should promote each other. Totally agree with that. Over on the Amazon side, I'm going to highlight Loving Myself for you guys on Amazon. And one thing I love about this book, the way that you have it, is that you're not afraid to put your main characters through some difficult situations, Suzetta. And I'm going to talk around this, so don't give it away.
Okay.
Okay, but what I love about this about Reese is that Reese is able to take time to talk to God about everything that's been happening. She's gone through the loss that she's experienced, and she's gone through this whole feeling of, does she matter? And this chapter ends with these great affirmations. What was it like for you to have her to realize that she wasn't defined, Suzetta, by the bad things that was happening to her, that she was someone who was still valuable and worthy?
First of all, I think that she has a good support system, and that's
Yeah.
very, very, very important. But
Yeah.
I wanted Reese to realize that, and for young readers who read this, that no matter what you're going through, we all, as long as you live, you're going to go through something,
Right.
but you don't have to. you don't have to succumb to whatever it might happen to be, whether, especially in this case where, she has gone through some formidable things, but, if you, have faith and pray to God, because you saw that she prayed on many occasions, because she has that in her background,
Yeah.
that she would be able to, well, she wasn't sure, because she's still growing in herself, but knowing that, I wanted to show that you don't have to allow bad things to just overtake you, that you can overcome. And I'm trying to stay, Penda, I'm trying to stay away from getting into this into
Right.
this
Right.
into the story. And it's funny because my daughter just finished reading it. She's read the whole trilogy, and so just last night we were talking about some of Reese's attitudes, because I think I mentioned, she was sharing how she really loved it, and how I allowed her, because she said I took her through too many changes and so forth, and
Mm.
but in the end, which I wanted her to have a good ending, based on all that she had gone through. But I mentioned something about her attitude. And again, if you've read Black Fallen Leaves and Black Diamond, you'll know something about her mother. And so my daughter was saying, well, her mother went through some traumatic stuff too, but it wasn't that. And sometimes we emulate the things that we see. So anyway, my whole thing was to stress to those, especially our young people. We see so much going on, but
Yeah.
regardless of the things that, that it may hinder us, or the things that we get into, um, uh, following folks that really don't mean us any good, that kind of thing, that, you can rise above that. And that's what I wanted to do, even though I went a roundabout way to show it. Of course, I had to tell my little story,
Yeah.
but but that was basically why I took her through some of those changes,
Mhm.
but I wanted it to end well, because a lot of my stories don't always end on a good note. But I wanted this to for this child, and I believe in book 4, whenever I get to it, you'll see her being elevated even more, based on what journey I have her traveling on at this particular time.
Yeah. Well, the book is called "Loving Myself: Reese's Story," but the actual when we get to hear the words "loving myself," is actually in Lily. Talk to us about Lily. What was it like for you to have Lily share the words? I want to read these words that Lily says, and the piece "Loving Myself," and then we're going to talk about it. Lily says, "A beautiful black skin covering every inch of me, scarless and flawless down to my inner core. I'm not going to let nobody tear me apart because loving myself is priority one." What made you gift that to Lily to be able to tell that part of the story, Suzetta?
Well, Lily is her cousin,
Hmm.
and Lily didn't. In book 1, Lily is uh, Gypsy Reese Gypsy Shackfort's daughter, and they didn't have a lot, but they felt some kind of way when Reese came to visit them, and Reese wanted to stay, but they didn't want her to stay, because they finally have found a place that they could belong and they could excel. But they loved their cousin. She loved her cousin, and they knew that she was going through an awful lot. And so even though Lily is younger, and I think her sister, actually the sister wrote the song for um um no, that's 38. Okay, I'm confused because I wrote quite a few songs in there,
Okay.
but I think that song also was for Lily,
Yeah.
um realizing who she is and what she can become and what
Mhm.
she is becoming.
Yeah.
So mhm.
Yeah. And I think too that message for the reader is so important. I'm not going to let nobody tear me apart because loving myself is priority one. I think it's a great reminder as well. Let's see. Ellen says the song you wrote, Suzetta can sing and compose songs. She has a question for you too. She says, "How important is it to write a storyline to fit any age group? Was that challenging?" So that's a great question, Ellen, to tie into. Talk to us about the age group for this series, Suzetta, and when it comes to, was that challenging for you writing for that age group?
No, because I have granddaughters, and I think that's this story. I was kind of writing for my granddaughter who's gone through some things also.
Okay. Okay.
And while this is not her story, I wanted her, I don't know if she'll read it, if her mother will give it to her to read, because I did ask, her mother, to share this with her, but I wanted them to know that, you know, they have a whole lot of life ahead, and you don't have to succumb to, all the nuances of what life, throws on you. I have a college age granddaughter, and she's been going through a lot. And in some ways, even though I, wasn't really planning on sharing it, I was writing it for her as well. But she's not in Reese's predicament, but anyway, without, like I said, sharing that story. So for me, writing that story, having been a teenager, having had teenagers, it was easy to write. And I've written, I think, another story a while back. It was called Hollywood Sky, and it's about a young girl who, was just graduated from high school, really wanting to know. She's been, I guess, what you call sheltered, and really wanting to get out on her own and know a little bit about life. And my son, he was the one like, "Mom, okay, you need to write something for my audience." And so I know that I can do that, because I do mentor young kids. In fact, that's one of the things that I do on the side, is I mentor aspiring authors, and one has been a youngster, and she wrote about um, about colorism and colorism, texturism, those kinds of things. It was a project that she wrote for Girl Scouts, to receive a Girl Scout award, a gold award, if it is. And so I helped her through that process. And so, for me, even understanding those that age group, was really prime in me doing my book. In fact, the book is dedicated to that person. If you read the dedication, is dedicated to that young lady that I actually helped to get her gold award. So, yeah.
Love that. Well, it is it's great to be able to see not only the range of characters you're able to give, but also while you're entertaining, also being able to inspire as well. So for those who are just discovering Loving Myself, Reese's story, Suzetta, what do you hope they're able to take away not only from Reese's journey of triumph, but also her journey of self-discovery and self-love?
Well, that I think what I want people to take away, which resonates even from the very first book, is
Mhm.
um, that you can find purpose in your life. Hopefully you will find purpose in your life, and just don't let the ills of the world and all that we're going through. We're going through so much, and this last administration, and our world is being turned upside down. But you can't allow that to deter you from where you would like to be and would like to go. There are going to be stumbling blocks on the way, but forge ahead, and let God order your steps, and find purpose in your life, instead of being negative all the time. So I think that's really what I want to take away. And then God will open the doors. If the door is not, if the door is closed, He will open it for you. And I think that little passage I wrote in the very end, sometimes, the door that closes is only preparing you for another path that will be yours instinctively. So
Yeah, I love that. Well, we know there's going to be so much more coming from you, Suzetta. We're so glad to be able to have you on. Again, everyone, Suzetta Perkins has been our guest. The newest book is called Loving Myself, Reese's Story. We have it highlighted for you guys on the Amazon side, but you will see other books there, including what you heard Suzetta talk about. I'm going to highlight Fallen Leads for you guys. The first book in the series, you can see it there. The second book there is Black Diamond. You can see it there in our carousel as well. We also have some of the other books from Suzetta there too. Suzetta, let our audience know, how can they stay connected with you?
You can stay connected with me through my website, which is SuzettaPerkins.com. I am on Facebook, Suzetta Perkins. I also have a fan page, but as Cyrus knows, I don't really keep up my fan page now. Yeah. And I'm on Instagram at Suzetta Perkins. But and on X at Author Sue.
Love it. Love it. Well, Suzetta, congratulations to you again. So glad we had a chance
Thank
to
you so
chat
much.
and looking forward to our next chat together.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Glad to
Appreciate
do
you
it.
having me.
Glad to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Cyrus Webb Presents. Until next time, you'll make it a great one. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.